Welcome to the Building Materials Sales and Marketing Podcast, presented by Mark Mitchell, a sales and marketing consultant who specializes in helping building materials companies overcome difficult sales problems. Mark is the author of the book Building Materials Channel Marketing and a frequent speaker at industry events.
Hello, this is Mark Mitchell from Wizard Strategy. I want to apologize to my listeners. I have been remiss. I haven't been keeping up with the podcasting, and I'm going to get back at it. So hopefully you'll see a new episode out from me at least once a week going forward. Today, I wanted to talk to you about a thing that I see going on when I'm talking to building material customers. And that could be builders, dealers, distributors, contractors, any of those types of people, in which they've been seeing a drop-off in the level of customer service and support from the manufacturers and suppliers that they buy things from. And what it looks like is happening is that, number one, as sales volume has, the economy's just gotten better since 2008 or 9, and so sales have just continued to increase. But as the sales go up, let's say 10%, a company isn't adding 10% capacity to their customer service or to accounts receivable or to the shipping department. They're not adding as those go up, and they're just expecting those people to be able to carry the load. And it's starting to show in terms of how the client, your customers are experience the level of service and support they get from you. The other one that I'm seeing is it seems like there's people in the building materials company, I always call it the MBA, who stares at spreadsheets all day, that's never met a customer, never been on a job site. And that person is looking for ways that the company can cut costs. And some of those costs affect the customer. I was with a large distributor, and he talked to me about how one of his largest companies he buys from decided to stop acknowledging orders. I guess, that was going to, save them some money every year to acknowledge orders. So they decided they'd stop doing it. Well, now he can't operate his business without knowing for sure that the manufacturer got the order. So either he or someone that works for him has to take time out of their busy day to contact the company to verify that they got the order. Now, that is taking time both from the customer who's going, I shouldn't have to do this. And secondly, the company that thinks they're saving money, they're now taking up somebody else's time to have to be able to verbally acknowledge when the customer calls. So none of that seems to make sense. But the point I'm trying to make here is customers today, for the most part, we don't like to hear this, but they look at a product. If your product is, we'll just say something like vinyl siding, they will tend to look and say, I really like the company I deal with, but if I had to, most vinyl sidings are very similar or they're within a range of performance. And I think they feel that way about roofing membranes, insulation, many different types of products that they may like your product, a performance feature of your product better, but they're really looking for products that will perform within an acceptable range. And then the second thing, they're looking for products that have a competitive price. So there's a range of pricing that's acceptable and a range of performance. And so more and more what I'm finding is companies or customers saying, gee, if somebody came in and would make my life easier by being able to quote things faster, acknowledge orders the way I want, ship quicker, more reliably, whatever it is, I would seriously think about giving them my business. So I recommend that you talk to your customers and ask them what things could you do differently that would make their life easier. Your customers today don't differentiate between their home life. When they go on, they see something they want to buy, they go online to Amazon, they push one button and it's handled. They don't have to acknowledge anything. They're communicated with. If there's a problem, they are told about the problem. So they're looking at that going, why can't I have that same experience in my professional life? And so the companies that get that, the companies that make it, the customer gets answers quickly, accurate information quickly, and who says, what can we take on for the customer? Can we, something to me would seem like as simple as acknowledging an order is something like, what's the big deal? But apparently to some companies, they see, well, we could, save $5,000 if we no longer acknowledged orders. So I think it's really important to be thinking and have regular communications with your customers about what could we be doing better. And literally maybe saying, what do we do that frustrates you? Is there anything we're doing that makes your life hard or that we could do differently to make your life easier? And then look to see, can you do that? It's never about price. It's simply about, I have 1,000 things to worry about, and the companies who I can require the least effort to deal with are the companies I prefer dealing with because I know I've got a number of companies that are going to be a problem. And so if you're a problem company to me, then you kind of fit into that pile. If you're the company that kind of set it and forget it, we got your back, that's the company they're going to more prefer. So give some thought to that about a way, you work really hard to get a new customer, and then are you working hard enough to keep that customer? I see that as a real opportunity where more and more companies they define what good customer service is. They don't go to the customer and ask them to define what good customer service is. So they decide what's good. So have regular communications with your customers about what you could be doing to do better. Ask them. A question I always like to ask them is, who are their top 3 suppliers and why? And see if there's something that those top 3 suppliers, they probably make a product that you don't compete with, but they're still selling to the same person. Is there something they're doing that is making that customer more successful, requiring less effort on their part that you could do? Now, along the same lines, the things that's also slipping, I was with the president of a large one-step distributor last month, and I asked him, if somebody wants more of your business or someone wants to be one of your best suppliers, what do they need to do? And it kind of really surprised me because he looked at me and said, it's really simple. Just do what you say. He told me that that companies doing what they say are in decline. That like if you say you're going to ship on Wednesday, if you say you're going to get back to me, if you say that you're going to modify something or whatever you do, he was just relating to me how his trust level of building material companies is dropping off because they don't do what they say. And so part of it may be that we're seeing more and more salespeople who are not empowered to say. And so it's hard to find somebody within the big manufacturer who can actually commit to something. So that may be part of this. Be very careful about what you say you're going to do, that you actually do it. The other part of this that continues to come up is customers today. The best way to think about this is your professional customer. I don't care if it's an architect, a general contractor, remodeling contractor, builder, distributor, who have the mental picture that they would like to go home at night and sit in their bathrobe with their laptop in their lazy boy chair and do business with you. Okay. And they don't understand why they cannot get accurate information by just going onto your website or communicating online. Why do they always have to wait till the next day to talk to somebody to get an answer? So the companies that are going to be set up to provide the customer with the information they need with the least amount of effort and time in terms of the customer, they're going to be the ones who also are going to win. So in closing in this subject, think about what things that you could be doing to make gaining the trust of your customer, making your customer you be a preferred source of supply to them because literally, you make it easy to do business with you. You may think you make it easy. You may think you're doing great customer service, but I always find when I see those, the measurements have been set by the company Like we ship 82% of our orders in 48 hours. Well, that's their measure, but they didn't go and say, is that good customer service to the customer? They just decided it because it's what they could do. So be sure to let the customer define what is how you can best support them and stay in regular communication with them. Most companies have a problem where the salesperson will hear a customer mention this, or they'll see it, and then they will try to take it upstream to the company, and it's all of a sudden viewed that either the customer is a complainer or the salesperson's a complainer, and it's not really taken seriously or it's not welcomed. So many companies are kind of shut off from what the real customer thinks of them because they don't have an open way to communicate that. So I know you can have a real competitive advantage by being the company that's the easiest company to do business with. It's probably the best way to think about that. And once again, it doesn't mean you have the lowest price or you cut your price. It's the company that's easiest to do business with. So what could you do to make it easier for your customers to do business with you? And the best way to find out is to go ask them. So I hope this has been helpful. And as always, I'm hoping my advice makes you think, and it's not necessarily always right or right for you, but my purpose is to get you to think about things and continue to improve. So I hope perhaps here with the being the easy one for your customers, that you would use that to see your sales grow. Until next time, take care.
Thank you for listening to this podcast from Mark Mitchell on building materials, sales, and marketing. We hope he gave you some fresh perspectives on how to grow your sales, and will listen to future episodes.